Let's get started. Everybody, welcome to Getting Started with Port. My name is Aidan O'Connor. I'm a senior solution engineer at Port. Been here about coming up on 10 months. Um, a couple things we'll do today. Brief about me, but what you really care about, overview of Port. Demo, I'm going to show you a few first steps in creating a service catalog. I'm going to take you around our public demo environment, show you around that. Then maybe some pointers on where you should begin with your portal, and then of course save some time for Q&A. About me, used to be a consultant for about 5 years. I went to become an SE a couple of years ago. Started out at a small cloud security company called Fugue, then went to a company called Sneak, and then now I'm at Port working on internal developer portals and changing developer experience for the better. So let's talk quickly about IDPs, the core platform engineering. So on the right side of the screen, you have all of the tools that you've acquired to support your developers, support your platform. So cloud, incident management, ticket management, pipelines, infrastructure as code. There are a lot of places to go, and I think when we talk to large enterprises, especially, a really convincing argument for the benefit in IDP is just a screenshot of all of the tabs, all of the windows that someone would have to go open to do their job on a day-to-day basis, right? And especially if you're dropped into like like an incident with a service you're not usually familiar with, you are having to log in all of those things and finding the right identifier and the different platforms to go find that. And then on the left side, you have all of the stakeholders, and I don't think this is even fully represents all the stakeholders, right? You have developers and their managers, VPs of engineering, DevOps people, CISOs, but you also have product people. You have people on the business side who kind of want to know, maybe you're in a SaaS business and you'd like to know when you can start selling a certain product or talking about a feature. And it's good to have that visibility into these things. So you can bring these things together. So different views for different people on the left side that show what they need to know from all these platforms you've invested in, all within an IDP. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that today. I think the thing that we profess is always Portal's product. So it's never complete. I think you should always be releasing new features that these different stakeholders need. And as you acquire new platforms, bring them into the IDP to maximize their value. So we have a few customization pillars in Port. First one, top left, software catalog. So having a single source of truth for all of your software, all of your assets, anything you have is a great starting place. It's kind of what the rest of the things are built on. This goes far beyond just repositories, right? From your source code management tool. Bring those in, bring your cloud resources in, ticket information, pull requests, merge requests, everything into a single place, and then correlate it, right? We don't want to reproduce the problem of having all of the platforms on the right side from the previous screen, just in different views in Port, right? We want to start piecing these things together. So rather than having developer go to kind of like all of the repositories and then keeping something in mind and then going to the cloud resources, what you want to do is relate these things together. So that's the software catalog, single source of truth of record. Scorecards in the top middle. So being able to evaluate software quality across different things in a very easy way. Kind of plays to two of those personas I talked about. So, if you go to GitHub, if that's what you use for source code management, you won't necessarily have like number of incidents recently, which would be a good indicator of quality. And similarly, if you go to whatever you use for incidents, you wouldn't have, how long it takes to address a pull request. You'd have to go in another system for that. So what we want to do is have kind of a centerpiece of our data model, and have scorecards based on that evaluate these metrics and pull them in. And that serves two people. So developers will have then a checklist of things that they need to do. So maybe it could be one rule in a scorecard could be you need to have fewer incidents. There's likely some different things that they have to address instead of just having fewer incidents. It's a little hard to affect that. Um, might be other things implementing DORA metrics. So um, lead time for change, right? We need smaller pull requests that are reviewed and approved, merged a little bit more frequently. That's something they can go affect. And then from leadership perspective, VP of engineering might go take a look at all the services, all the scorecards across all services, and see where that VP needs to put their attention. So um, maybe across the board, our PRs are a little bit too big. So I can go implement an initiative to go focus on that. Self-service, developer autonomy. It's probably what brought a lot of you here today. Instead of having to go to maybe a Slack or a Teams channel and ask for access to something, or having to go into multiple systems to go change something. I need to change who's on call for this service. I need emergency access to this cluster. Stop doing that. This should be in a self-service action. And I think a good guide for what should and should not be a self-service action is if you put a lot of time into writing like a step-by-step checklist on how to do certain things, that should likely be converted into a self-service action, right? I'm going to jump down to automations next. The defining line between those is self-service actions should be something that you want a human in the loop. You don't want kind of automatic creation of new services, new resources necessarily. So you want somebody to have to go click that button, request that thing, rather than relying on tickets. But automations behave in a similar way to self-service actions, but humans shouldn't be in the loop. So maybe you have a development environment that maybe a problem you're facing today is you have a lot of development environments that kind of need to be reviewed maybe once a quarter and shut down. It's costing you a lot. So instead of that, recommend automations. So set a time to live on those development environments. You know, ping somebody who owns it when it's time to shut it down, or maybe just shut it down automatically when that time to live expires. Dashboard metrics in the bottom left, take all that data from the catalog, from self-service action runs, scorecards, and create completely customizable dashboards for you to review those metrics. And then finally in the bottom right, especially as we talk to large enterprises, only letting the right people do the right things at the right time. So reflecting that in your IDP is an important way to customize it. All right, so a live demo, I'll get into that now. So we have our public demo site. I'll drop the link to this in this chat. So if anyone wants to go take a look at this, it's free, it's open. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just go take a look at it. I think it's a good way to advocate for an IDP, especially as you deal with people who maybe don't know what an IDP is. It's a net new capability you're trying to offer. This is meant to represent a very mature instance of Port as an IDP. Someone's put a lot of time and effort into this. So don't get, scared when you see it. There's a lot you can do with it. We'll start with the software catalog. So you want to populate this with as much data as possible that you can correlate. So if we go into any given service, we want to represent multiple things here. So you're going to see there's source code management information, right? The last person to commit. There's incident information from PagerDuty, who's on call. Health status and production, you can pull that from observability monitoring or your cloud provider. Dashboards you can go to, pulled again from observability and monitoring. So you want to aggregate as much information as possible. Very easy to do so. So builder, data sources, you can add a new data source. You follow this. You have a couple options for that. You can have Port host the integration for you. So similar to other SaaS models, you put in your API token or whatever we need for these SaaS providers, or you can host it yourself. So you can actually have an integration that sits in your infrastructure that acts as a medium in between the third party in question and Port. So you give that integration is containerized in your infrastructure, keys to both things, and it reads from Port and it reads from the third party, and it passes that necessary information in and deletes necessary information from Port to keep it all fresh and relevant. So that's the concept with the integrations. Again, you have your choice. So back in the catalog, taking a look at a given service, I think the use case that a lot of people find useful, that comes up a lot, is I kind of just want to show everything that someone would need to know about a given service. So we have this ad service, pulled information from many different things. But let's change the perspective a little bit. Let's say you're a developer who is maybe on call for a service that you're not as familiar with. Maybe you worked on it in the past. Maybe you're not typically on call. This is a good place to go find out information about that. So you have again information from all these sources. You could see where this is running. You could see what version, what image is running in what environment. You could see if maybe if there is an incident, has somebody already created a pull request that addresses a certain issue that we found. Um, when was the last time this was deployed and who deployed it? Have there been any recent incidents? If so, what what uh, what helped to resolve those? What dependencies does it have? Issues, cloud resources, all of these things you can find, you can aggregate from all the tools in your platform into your IDP. So this is a good first view to kind of go implement um, for the catalog for scorecards to evaluate those standards, those metrics you want to enforce. I'm going to pull it away from the developer point of view, and I'm going to go to a scorecard overview. Might be a little bit more for an engineering manager or VP of engineering, somebody who wants to go evaluate the quality across all services. So what you're going to see is a lot of scorecards uh, per team or per domain, however you'd like to do it. Um, and you're going to see, you know, who's failing at what. Where do you need to put your attention as a leader to go and make this better, right? How efficient are we as an engineering organization? Um, Based on this, you can then go create an initiative. An initiative is essentially just a special dashboard and port where you take a scorecard or a scorecard rule or however many you'd like to go and create this initiative for and set a timer on it. You say, look, by the end of this quarter, I want all the services to have a SonarQube project related to it. And in this way, you're able to go enforce these things. So notice that the initiatives aren't in the, you know, in our example, aren't in that scorecard overview. We want developers to be able to see this and see kind of what they need to do to resolve whatever their leadership needs and get back to just writing code. So a couple examples here. And then you'll also notice that there's always an easy way for you to go and update this to get off this list, right? We have all these services, a couple different self-service actions you can go trigger. So I need to create a PagerDuty service because I know that a given service doesn't have it yet. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to click the button. I'm going to get the thing. I'm going to move back to writing code. And expanding on self-service, we've got plenty of examples here. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. It's also not the only place you can get self-service actions. You can go into the catalog. You can create a different kind of experience for developers to do. Um, we've got, again, a number of things here, but um, recall anything that is maybe currently a checklist that developers either have a tough time following, or it takes a lot of time, or it takes a lot of interaction with the DevOps team. We would recommend creating a self-service action for that. So you do really simple things, scaffolding new service, whatever that means to you. If that means just a new repo, then do that, right? Scaffold a new repo. But it might also mean new repo, new pipeline that is based on a template that deploys to a given environment very easily at the click of a button. So whatever you need that to be, you make that import, right? Could also be getting new cloud resources. Could also be changing some things, right? So maybe I'm trying to go down to a good example here, rolling back a deployment. We've got an issue with a particular running service. We need to go roll this back. So abstract that away. Right now, that might be a ticket. It might be a Slack or Teams message. You might have to find the person who's most familiar with this. Abstract that away. Make it easier for the developers to go change this. I need to select the service, auto merge it, select the image I want to roll back to, execute it, and then automation in the back end, whether that's a GitHub action um, or any pipeline from the major source code managers, or maybe a Lambda function, something that goes to a Kafka topic, whatever you need it to be can be done. So that's self-service. So we've gone over catalog, uh, scorecards, and one more thing on scorecards as well. You'll see that we have a lot of things here, right? A lot of examples. Everything from obviously the scorecard title to the rules that go in it to the levels that go in it to what it evaluates is customizable and depends on that data that you bring in when you first build that software catalog. So I would say don't get overwhelmed with all this. Use it as a good example for you to go enforce. But we recommend just going to enforce the things you actually care about. We're not trying to dump, just store, excuse me, just store metrics on you. We're, trying to make this very customizable for you. And you could do so in the builder, right? So you can modify your existing scorecards, bring in new ones, whatever you'd like to do. Netta, you have a question? No questions in the audience. Okay. So the final bit here, automations. So um, again, taking a human out of the loop, things for things that need to be without a human in the loop. So if there's a new PagerDuty incident, there are some things that should probably automatically be done. New Slack or Teams channel gets created, the right people get added to it, a new Jira ticket gets created. That kind of thing should be done with automations. So the way that you can get started with Port, sign up um, at our website, getport.io, create a new account, start adding some data in. So again, data sources top right, add your data source, whether you want that to be hosted by Port or whether you want to host it. Start relating that data. There's something called data source mapping where you can extract certain elements and automatically relate these things together, and then create the views that you find most valuable. Again, going back to that, those stakeholders on the left side, and I think I'll wrap up here. When picking those first things, I think a lot of people want to go for the most complicated, cool use case they can do. But I think we find that the simplest thing, the thing that offers the highest value to the most amount of people, that's demanded the most and easiest to implement is the perfect use case. So maybe instead of something really complex like uh, changing all dependency versions based on a vulnerability at the click of a button, really great, might not be used that often. Something like rotating a key in Azure Vault, for example, might be a better use case since it's something that might be day-to-day used by developers. Any questions from anybody in the crowd?
Thank you so much, Aiden, for your session. This also will be recorded and sent to everyone. So feel free also to reach out in a info@port.io or in our website. Or if you want a personal or one-on-one demo, also reach out to us.
All right. Thanks, Nina. Thanks, everyone.